Hey all, good morning. I generally don't hang on for too long, but today is going to be a slightly shorter session because I have an overseas friend of mine who's visiting and I need to spend some time with him. So that said, let's get to the main story of the morning. Good morning, everyone. Let's set the stage for today's market action before we dive into our technical analysis. Overnight, the big story remains the dramatic escalation in the Middle East, with the United States now directly involved in Israel's conflict with Iran. Over the weekend, US airstrikes targeted three main Iranian nuclear sites, Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz. A move that caught many people off guard, especially investors, more so after President Trump had signaled that any military action might be 2 weeks away. He said that I will take around 2 weeks to decide what is to be done. Now, I generally do not trust the pre-market action most of the times because it's all retail investors who are trying to see if they can get lucky. That's my belief. I may be wrong with that. But many times I have seen that the market might be red in the morning, in the pre-morning session, and when the market actually opens, it suddenly goes green. And today, I think there are two possibilities. One possibility would be that the uncertainty is over, the nuclear capabilities are disabled, and the war is in the control of Israel and United States, and therefore uncertainty has reduced and the market could go green. The other possibility is that the market decides to focus on the fact that Iran is going to block the Strait of Hormuz. Iran continues to throw missiles, which are creating a lot of damages and deaths in Israel as well. That's what I see from other media reports. So the investors could then say that we are plunged into a little bit of greater uncertainty because the war has started. And there also appears to be a fracture among the ruling party. Many of Trump's coalition parties were against having this war. So that is also likely to play out, and it may impact the passage of the big, beautiful bill, which gives a lot of tax cuts. And the tax cut is what every investor has been salivating about. So that comes into a bit of risk. So all of those could push it to the bearish side. So I'm not buying this negative out here. I think it would go either way. I will wait and see what happens when the market opens, especially for today. Now, that said, oil prices have surged as a result of the strikes, and with US crude futures jumping nearly 4%, approaching 77 a barrel, and Brent crude climbing above 78, the spike in oil prices is heightening concerns about inflation and economic growth, particularly as the world is already navigating rapid changes in global trade policies under the Trump administration. Airlines are already feeling the pinch. Tourism industry has lost around $19 billion so far due to tourists not going to the United States. And with rising jet fuel costs leading to cancellations and travel turmoil. It's affecting hospitality industry big time. And I also would like to say that during this week today, we are going to have a lot of Fed speak happening. And when the Federal Reserve governors come out to speak, they would get an opportunity to address all of these concerns, because if oil price goes up, that means inflation concerns are going to be much more heightened. And if inflation concerns are heightened, then you have a situation where the Fed will not want to cut interest rates. And as you know, Trump is saying he needs a lot of interest rate cuts and he needs it now. And he has given the nickname too late to Fed Powell. So I think it's going to create a little bit of ripples out there. And the stock futures are pointing to a lower open, as you can see out here, with S&P 500 and NASDAQ futures all in red. The S&P now has posted 3 consecutive days of losses, closing Friday at around 5,967.84, about 3% below its record high. Asia Pacific and European markets are also down this morning as investors brace for the potential of a wider conflict and further disruption to global supply chains, because there's a lot of US assets around Iran, and Iran has got its proxies as well, which have warned that they will strike US interests. So there's a high state of alert in all those places. And the US dollar has kind of strengthened in the process, as you can see in the chart out here. I'm going to just convert this into a single chart so that you can have a look at it. There is a little bit of strengthening this morning for the US dollar. There is slight movement upwards. If it persists, that would mean that there is a flight of assets away from risk and into the US dollar. And the yields have dropped. When I saw this in the morning, before I started the live stream, the yields were higher, but the yields have dropped, which doesn't gel with the usual action that should happen at this point of time. And it's a good thing that the US yields are dropped. That would mean that the market still believes that US dollar and the US bonds are the place where you will find safety in this kind of a situation. So in the recent past, we had not seen this correlation. So this is a very welcome development. The yields are falling very sharply. This is good for the US as it issues more bonds. And I think the defense stocks are under scrutiny as conflict unfolds, while energy companies are benefiting from the surge in oil prices. And we are also looking at Tesla's robotaxi launch in Austin, which is generating a buzz. So look at Tesla stock going up. I have shorts on Tesla, which I will have to unwind today. That's my thought process. And I think basically geopolitical risk is the dominant market theme driving volatility today. And oil prices are at multi-month highs, which would raise inflation concerns. So that's what I have got in mind. And I'm going to go and have a look at the futures. These are all 3-minute charts that I'm showing you to show some amount of dynamism as we were waiting for the live stream to open and for me to get started. Now I'll switch over to the 1-day chart. And if you look at the 1-day chart, what you can see here is that we have S&P 500 gaining a little bit, but you will notice that it had already started at a very low level below the 21-day exponential for the beginning of today. And it has gained a lot, but it's still being constrained by the 9-day exponential moving average. I still have this bearish divergence, which I think is starting to play out with this drop out here. And when the market opens, I'm thinking that we'll get a true read of what the market sentiment is. Likewise for NASDAQ as well, it started very low, but it has hence picked up. And that's why we have a green candle, even though we have got a negative reading out here. It remains to be seen whether both NASDAQ and S&P 500 futures will be able to break the 9-day exponential or not. As you can see, the bullish sentiment is waning. There's one too many, because if you had seen my editorial for Saturday, I was talking about, I recounted all the blows that this market has taken and has still stayed close to all-time highs. And my question was, what will it take to bring down this market? It's like the last straw on the camel's back. It could happen anytime, so we got to be very careful today. And let me go on to have a look at the indicators and see where they are. So we were at around 5,967.85 when we closed. And I think we will open somewhere around that region. We'll be above the 21-day exponential, but below the 9-day exponential. And those two will be the range for today's trading, in my opinion. Likewise, for NASDAQ, we will open above the 21-day exponential, but below the 9-day exponential. And the 9-day exponential could be the challenge for us today. So movement, I'm thinking, is biased towards the downside, in my opinion, because as it is, I was a bear before we had the strike on Iran. But after the strike on Iran, I'm thinking that the remaining optimism that was there, that the Fed is going to cut rates, that comes under pressure because of the spike in oil prices. And if the Strait of Hormuz was blocked, that is going to be inflationary in nature. So all of those things are going to make the Federal Reserve pause further. And that means the market will be disappointed. And that's the reason why I'm looking at more bearishness in the overall sentiment. And as on Q, VIX has also spiked about 20%. It's gone up 5.24% today. And we can see that the sentiment is bullish on the VIX. So expect as the VIX goes up, the stock market would come down. And we are also approaching a situation where if you look at S&P 500, you would see that this was the peak. The red line that I'm looking at out here, and the peak was somewhere around 6,149 in that range. And we have been struggling to get out there. We have not been able to do that. Now, this is still a bull flag out here. In my opinion, we are looking at a bull flag which could potentially go way beyond this line out here. But then again, I would bring you back to look at this particular chart out here. The time frame I'm going to change into 1 month candles, and you can see S&P 500 has been inside this particular sphere, in this particular channel for the longest time, and it is overextended, in my opinion, and it has got to come back in and get back into this channel. That's what is most likely to happen given all the headwinds that we are facing. So I would attribute all of this jump above this to computer algorithms compensating to do a bull trap out there. That's my view until proven otherwise. So we have re-entered into this channel out here. As we can see, we re-entered and then we went back up again for a brief period of time. So I'm thinking that it's about time that we started being more rational in the market, and we started coming back into this fold out here. And we need the 21-day and the 9-day exponential to cool off. And also our divergence is starting to materialize. We had bearish divergence and it is starting to materialize, in my opinion, because we have a continuous series of down days out here. So that's my commentary for the indicators. And if you look at gold, gold is starting to gain a little bit. It has got back onto this diagonal line of support. And I think that gold is going to ride this bullish channel. I don't know if we are going to meet our target of 3,730, but let us see where it goes, because right now gold along with dollar is going to be the area of safety. Put call ratio is mildly bullish. I think it's more or less neutral, and usually when it's around 0.70, I would say it is bullish. And 1 is neutral. So we are somewhere between bullish and neutral. So I would say it is mildly bullish. And let's go on to AI, which is our main interest. If you look at NVDA, it's down 0.90%. And whenever NVDA is down, it's not a good sign for the overall index, because it then gives direction to the likes of Meta, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, those stocks. And then all of them have a heavy weightage on the index, and then it pulls the index down. So NVIDIA being down 0.90% is probably a canary in the coal mine, in my opinion, and we are below the 9-day exponential today as we open. And therefore, I would say that we will find support somewhere around 140.21 for NVIDIA, and we will find resistance on the 9-day exponential, followed by resistance at around 147.26. 9-day exponential is at 143.35. So that's my calculation, and I can clearly see bearish divergence out here, which has got to account. It has not yet manifested properly, and it has to manifest. And also in my previous videos, I have mentioned that when you have a movement upwards and then a movement downwards, it's a bull flag. But when you have a curving movement like this, it means that the market is just waiting to drop. So I think the market is waiting to drop as far as the semiconductors are concerned. Meta is up 0.02% in pre-market trading. It's just mildly above where it closed yesterday. Sentiment is still bullish, but MACD is bearish and momentum has dropped. So I don't think Meta is likely to hold on to this bullish sentiment if NVIDIA comes down. Let's look at Google, which is down 0.27% in pre-market trades. And it's going to get a resistance at around 169.10, which is this red line out here. Let me just take the opportunity to mark all the other resistances red. And then it's going to get a support at 164.69. That's the range in which Google is going to operate today. Amazon is down 0.19% in pre-market trades. Amazon has got a lot going for it. I'm generally bullish on Amazon. It has support today at around 207.80. And it's got a resistance at 209.29. Right now, it's at 209.25 in pre-market sessions. So for all practical purposes, I would say that the 21-day exponential, which is at 209.29, is going to be the first support for today. And the resistance for today is going to be the 9-day exponential, which happens to be at 212.33. That's the range for Amazon for today. And if I look at Apple, Apple is up 0.04% in pre-market trades. It's likely to get support at around 198.96. I'm going to mark this green. And it's going to get a resistance in this almost diagonal line of resistance that we have here. I'm just going to pull this out a little bit so that we can get a mark in it for today. And for today, this is going to give us resistance at around 205.25. So that's the range in which we are likely to move today for Apple. Microsoft is down 0.09%. And I've been waiting for Microsoft to drop for so many days. As I mentioned earlier, I got MSFD out here, bought somewhere out here. And I thought that we have a gap up here and we got to fill the gap up. And the valuations were stretched at that time, in my opinion. I was wrong. Microsoft continues to march ahead. It was having a resistance with this diagonal line of resistance, which it has breached many times. So I'm just going to ditch this. I'm no longer looking at it. I would draw a new line of resistance, which could be like so. And I'm thinking that for today, our support is going to be the 9-day exponential, which is at 475.38. Followed by this green line out here at 467.78. I don't expect Microsoft to fall too much, but it's going to be simpatico with NVIDIA and the general Mag 5. Tesla is up 0.80%, as I mentioned in my pre-market commentary. Tesla has got that robotaxi thing going for it right now. That buzz is still there. And we want positive catalyst news coming out of that. We don't want any negative catalyst which says that it skipped a signal or it bumped into a light pole or something like that. If anything like that comes in, then it's curtains down for the time being. But if nothing like that comes out, I think we are going to enjoy a little bit of upward movement. Our immediate resistance happens to be at 329.37, which is this line out here, 329.14 is the resistance. And our support is the 9-day exponential at 322.34. Pre-market, we are at 324.85. I think the sentiment was bearish when we closed last, but this morning when we open, I'm expecting this to become slightly bullish sentiment. And also I'm expecting MACD to recover. Momentum is already above average. I expect it to pick up as the robotaxi rollout approaches. Next, we have got Oracle, which is down 0.57% in pre-market trading. And it's going to get support from the 9-day exponential at 198.88 for today. And it would get a little bit of resistance if it wants to move upwards at somewhere around 214.94. That's the range at which it's going to get a resistance. Then we have AMD, which is up 0.75%. AMD was lagging NVIDIA for quite a while. So I can credit AMD with a little bit of catching up that it needs to do. And also with AMD, you have got a reverse head and shoulder, in my opinion. I'll just draw it out for you so that you can see it yourself. So this is the reverse head and shoulder that I can see. Of course, the neckline has not touched in both the places, but this is roughly the reverse head and shoulder, which is a bullish pattern. And so far, it has not dropped below the neckline. So I'm going to think that I will give the benefit of doubt to AMD today. And I'm expecting that it's going to challenge the resistance at 131.01. Sentiment is absolutely bullish. Momentum is pretty good. RSI has plenty of room for it to become overbought. And then MACD is also bullish. So AMD is likely to go up, and that's going to help the Mag 7s. The only outlier here is NVDA, where you can see the bullishness is dropping, MACD is bearish, and momentum is quite high and it's dropping. So that's the difference between NVIDIA and AMD. AMD is doing a catch-up, which is almost similar to what Google was doing, because Google was very late in catching up with the rest of the Mag 5. Its valuations are pretty good as compared to the remaining Mag 7. So that's what I would like to say out there. SMCI is down 4.52%, and it's going to get a support at 42.81. I'm going to make this green so that we can see that it's a support. And right now, pre-market, we are at 43.28. And that means that the stock has dropped around 4.46% in pre-market trade from where it closed previously. So its resistance is going to be somewhere around 46.31 for today. Broadcom is down 0.86%, and it's going to get support out here at 247.07. Right now, it's at 247.83 in the pre-market session. The next support is the 21-day exponential, which is at 250.09, 174.55. This is the orange line, which is a 21-day exponential. It's at around 243.81. That's going to be the next support. And the resistance is going to be very strong. It's going to be somewhere around $250.09, which is a intersection of the 9-day exponential and this horizontal line of the resistance. So this is going to be a major resistance for today. So that's what we have for Broadcom. Then we have Palantir, which is up 0.79%. Palantir is a very strong stock. And especially with all the war clouds coming up, I think that is going to be a greater use case for Palantir. And it's looking bullish at this point of time. And I expect it to persist being bullish during the day. And it could probably start creating a bull flag, which may even go down and sideways, but that will be a bull flag waiting to go up. So I wouldn't bet against Palantir, but I wouldn't put my money into it either, because my risk profile is very averse as a retiree, and therefore I won't touch Palantir at this point of time. The risk reward is not that great for me at this point of time. Next, I'm looking at SMH Semiconductor ETF, which is down 0.37% in pre-market trades. And I'm looking at the 9-day exponential as the resistance because it's at 259.38, and pre-market we are at 259.31. So the 259.31 is where we are at this point of time. So I would like to say that the 9-day exponential is going to play the role of a support today, and failing which the support is going to be the 21-day exponential at 252.40. And our resistance is going to be this diagonal line of resistance. And for today, it's going to be at 268.13 for SMH. Tempest AI for our friend Hot Dog is going to be, I think it's negative 2.39% in pre-market session, sitting at 66.68. So the 9-day exponential at 65.50 is going to be the support today. And our minor line of resistance at 68.23 is going to perform the role of a resistance today for Tempest AI. Rigetti, of course, is down 2.26%. That's one of my worst performing stocks. And AVAV is up 1.50%. I'm expecting AVAV to defy the markets, not only because I can see a reverse head and shoulder, which I have plotted here, and also put a price target of somewhere around $244 or $245 for this stock, mainly because of the global hostilities, and drones are performing a very important role in many conflicts. And therefore, I'm expecting AVAV to get more orders, and that should be something positive coming in for AVAV. I had this stock, I booked my profits, and then I sold it off. But I wouldn't get back into it because, again, as I said, my risk profile is not that great. So even though the technical is indicating that is going to be gains out here, and whatever I see out here is more of a consolidation, like a bullish pennant or something like that, which usually breaks out on the upside. But I'm not buying any of that right now. I'm conserving my capital and I'm being careful. So that's what I have out there for AI. Now I want to go into genomics and very quickly take a look at what's happening out here. We got in genomics, we got Prime, which is down 1.93%. And it's going to get a lot of support out here with the diagonal line of support at somewhere around 1.95 today. Right now it's at 2.03 in the pre-market session. Sentiment is bullish, MACD is also bullish, and RSI is overbought, and that's the reason why it's likely to consolidate sidewards and test the support out here. I don't expect it to go up anytime soon, at least not for today. Intelia is down 1.30% in pre-market trades, and it's going to get support at 8.97. And right now, pre-market, it's at 9.08. Next, I'm looking at Caribou Biosciences, which is up 0.75% in pre-market trades. It will get a support at 1.26. It's going to get resistance at 1.50. Beam Therapeutics is up 0.24% in pre-market trades. It will get support at 15.91, and it's going to get resistance at 17.06 and 17.25, which is the 9-day and the 21-day exponential moving average. And that's the range for Beam. Altimmune is down 1.56%. It's created a kind of bull flag out here. So I'm still optimistic about it because sentiment is bullish, MACD is also bullish, momentum is above average, plenty of room on the RSI. So when the market opens, I'll still expect a little bit of movement upward for Altimmune. Verve Therapeutics is down 0.18% in pre-market trades, and it's not much further away from where it was yesterday. It's at 11.04 as we open this morning. And there's a huge gap up that it had incurred. So I think our support is going to be, I would draw a minor line of support somewhere out here, which is at 9.34. I'll just take this to 9.34 and stop it out there. So 9.34 is the first level of support that we are looking at, which is very far, way below. Verve is not going to fall so fast. There is a confirmed deal with Eli Lilly. But at the same time, one has to be careful because a lot of people have been holding Verve for a long period of time. There may be many who have stopped looking at the stock because they don't want to be depressed. So when they find out that the stock has gone up so much through news reports or something, they may be looking at it and they will start selling to book profits. So we don't know how they're going to react. And the gap up is also significant. So I would be careful with Verve. The time for entering Verve is gone, in my opinion. Then we have Editas, which is down 2.70%. And it's going to get support at the minor line of support that we have at 2.06. Pre-market, it's at 2.16. And then if you look at Illumina, Illumina is down 0.52%. There's a whole area of support out here starting from 89.73. and ending at around 87.26. That is going to be the support range for today. And we have CRISPR Therapeutics, which is down 0.36%. CRISPR has gained quite a bit over a period of time. And again, as I mentioned, for Verve, for CRISPR also, there are people who are holding the stock with a lot of loss for a long period of time. They would be waiting to take some profit. We had a bull channel and a bull flag, which has been realized with this bullish movement upward. So with the RSI being very close to overbought, I would expect another bull channel, another bull flag to form out here, or a bullish pennant to form out here as we try to consolidate, and then another move upwards. But for today, our support for CRISPR is going to be at 42.98, and the resistance is going to be somewhere around 46.30. Allogene is not having any trades in the pre-market session, so I'll leave it as it is. Grail is down 0.28% in pre-market trades, and it's sitting at around 45.50, which is just on our minor line of resistance that we had from before. Our minor line of resistance was at 45.65. Right now we are at 45.50. So this resistance still persists for today. But in terms of support, I would say that our 9-day exponential at 43.42 is the first line of support. And the second line of support is going to be 43.08, which is this diagonal line of support, followed by the 21-day exponential at 41.22 for green. PSCB is down 2.36% in pre-market trades. We are going to get support at 1.21, and pre-market we are at 1.24, which is exactly where the 9-day exponential is at. So 9-day exponential is trying to support it pre-market, and if the support persists, then 9-day exponential will be the first support, and then our second support is going to be this horizontal line of support at 1.21. RG is down 0.84%. And our support is going to be at 22.99, and our resistance is 23.63, which is the 9-day exponential. Right now we are at 23.60. And of course, Vertex is up 0.93%. Friends, there has been a lot of buzz in the Canadian press for Vertex with their type 1 diabetes therapy, which is undergoing clinical trial in Canada. No, this is not the one that we have for CRISPR Therapeutics, but this is a different one. They have released data, and the data shows that it has done pretty well. It involves immunosuppressants. That's where I think CRISPR Therapeutics will try to be better. So there is that buzz going on. So I'm expecting Vertex to be positive today. And next I have got Ginkgo Bioworks, which is down 2.57% in pre-market trades. And it's right on top of our line of support, minor line of support at 8.35. And it's just 1 cent below that. So I'll assume this to be the first level of support for today. And our second level of support is going to be the 9-day exponential at 8.20. And our resistance is the 9-day exponential at 8.58. The support is the 21-day exponential at 8.20. So we come to Unicure, which is down 1.20%, and the reverse head and shoulder is not happening for Unicure. The bull flag has now turned into a bear channel. It has gone halfway below the flagpole. So at this point of time, it's looking bearish sentiment. Everything is bearish out here. So friends, that kind of brings me to an end of the genomics. I'm just going to look at Eli Lilly, where I have a little bit of shares. I should have sold everything, but I took profit with 100 out of 300 shares. I was still optimistic, but I think I'll do a dollar cost averaging out here and wait for this to go up. What you see here is a regression channel that I was using. And this median out here is where we'll keep on gravitating back to. We are oscillating around it. So I'm expecting this to be a short drop and back up again. So I might try to dollar cost average today. I'll look at my positions. I'll let you know tomorrow what I have done. But again, everything that I show you here is my personal opinion and not financial advice. This is what I'm doing as a individual retail investor. Now, having completed this, I would like to get from you guys any questions that you may have, or if you have any shares that you are looking at that you want me to analyze, please put that in the comment section and I would be able to look it up for you. If you have any trade ideas that you want to share with the rest of the community and myself, it's most welcome. I always look forward to any trade ideas that I can get. So please let me have that, or else I'm going to wind up the live stream, go have my breakfast, and take my friend out to the zoo for today. Okay, guys, bye for now.